Hello everybody and welcome back to Zero Views for 10/11/2016. Now then, I have three things to talk about before I get to X8 Episode 2. So, first off, RWBY Volume 4 trailer. I know I probably wasn't going to do anything on this, but I thought I'd briefly say that the animation is looking really nice. There's lighting, there's shading. It's different, but it looks nice. It looks nicer than what they've been doing. Fight choreography, I wouldn't say it's the best I've seen, but it's a trailer. It's supposed to wet your whistle. So I'll let it pass for now. Also, the fact that in the fight choreography, the Grimm are smarter than before. Like, they throw rocks at Ruby, who is the star of the trailer. They don't ram themselves into frickin' Ruby's blade. They're actually frickin' smart. We get the Baringle debut, which is basically the Gorilla Heartless, except everyone's gonna call it Harambe now, because Harambe is a frickin' meme. Why? Other than that, what's it called? You got Team Juniper redesigns, Team Ruby redesigns, but I'll talk about those more specifically when we actually get to Volume 4, or if we get the Volume 4 opening before it airs and stuff. So, okay. Now then, moving on to Kamen Rider. This is an interesting one. So, Toei is friends with, Bandai, and Bandai owns Namco. So, basically, the most logical conclusion with Kamen Rider X8 was to not only make the winter movie about Kamen Rider X8 and Kamen Rider Ghost, but here's the title of the new movie. Kamen Rider Heisei Generations, Dr. Pac-Man vs. X8 and Ghost with Legend Rider. Dr. Pac-Man. They're getting frickin' Pac-Man in this damn movie. And I love it. I love it so much. And they don't have to worry about licensing issues because Pac-Man is owned by Namco. Namco is owned by Bandai. Bandai is partners with Toei. How do you think they were able to get the frickin' Wonder Swan of all things in X8? So, yeah. Alright, so I'm just excited about that. Oh, and the three returning riders are Drive, Gaim, and Wizard. Now, I'm hoping they have a bit more of a role because in the trailer, Drive is in the middle, so maybe that means Shinosuke's actor's back, but they haven't announced it yet? I don't know. But also, they seem to emphasize, the five riders team up a lot in the poster. Because you have the close-up of X8 in the middle, you have Ghost, Drive, Wizard, and Gaim, all, giant-sized. They're not in the background. Usually they'd be in the background. So hopefully that means the actors are returning in some form or another. But what's it called? That's all I have to say on that. But we do have scans of the newest Kamen Rider stuff. Basically, we're getting a puzzle gamer and a fighting gamer in one called Paradox. We have a Super Mario Bros. Reference with X8's newest form. Basically, it's Mighty Bros. X. Mighty Bros. XX. And basically, I think that's going to be his Dead Heat form, I'm assuming. Dead Heat, Boost, Jimber. I'm pretty sure that's going to be his form for that one. So it's going to be interesting to see how they top this. But yeah, Mighty Bros. X. And Genmu is getting a zombie shot to become a zombie Genmu, and it looks really cool. But the most important thing to take out of this is Genmu's weapon is also his belt. Yeah, Gashikan bug visor that he uses, that's his frickin' belt. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, especially with Graphite having a buckle. That seems awfully suspicious. But Parrot being the one who, is being hinted at as being Genmu, which we'll see in the episode summary that I'm going to give. But also, Parrot may be Paradox, and who is this parody I'm talking about? It's actually the other humanoid bugster. So that's the one whose name I forgot. But Parad, Paradox, that would make sense. Anyway, on to the episode. So, the opening feels a lot less toyetic than other openings. Like, Ghost was very... They had to cram all the different forms in there and stuff. In this one, it feels like, oh, hey, it might just be this opening for the most part, and maybe they'll make subtle changes like with Gaim. And it's really nice. I love the visuals. It references a lot of different Kamen Rider openings, and I like that. But yeah, the visuals are nice. The song is catchy, and I love visuals and catchy songs. That's why I like Great Days from JoJo Part 4. But either way. So, the Ministry of Health and the Genmu Corporation, which is the game company, are conspiring to cover up the Bugster attacks, which, makes sense since the company is providing the gamer drivers for the Ministry of Health, so they would probably do that to keep up their end of the bargain. Now, the director, who I still can't remember his name yet, it'll come to me. So, he's basically going to be like Chief June from Kamen Rider Drive, though I think he's going to be a bit more serious because June was overtly silly in his movements and such. The director here, he has his serious moments, but he also has his very much. He reminds me a lot of my friend. Like, he's serious, but if he hears something he gets all like happy and stuff, and it's very much like my friend in terms of personality, so I can believe it in terms of that being for a joke. I can actually relate to it too, so I'm completely fine with the director so far. We're introduced to our secondary rider, Hiro Kagami, Kamen Rider Brave, and he's a famous surgeon that likes to say, "Oh, there's nothing I can't cut through," and he's also the son of the director, so there's your thing. Let's see. I had in my notes that I was going to mention this later, but I mentioned it when we had the scans. But yeah, the human Buckster dude's name is Parad, and he wants to greet their enemies. And considering what happens, like in the next couple scenes, I'm assuming this is a hint of him being Genmu, at least the first Genmu. I have my own theory on that, but I'll save that for later on. We get the Bugster problem in Kamen Rider Brave's debut. We find out that level 1 is actually necessary to beat the CGI Bugsters, and get the hilarious sequence of Emu trying to go level 2, but being denied by Asuna. It's funny, he's all like, "Die Henshin!" Gets into level 2, but then she just, pushes the lever back and turns him back into level 1. And I found that kind of funny, but yeah. Level 1 is necessary, so I'm curious as to how they're gonna just skip straight past level 1 later on. So they defeat the giant Bugster form and the level 2 Bugster forms, but Genmu debuts, and with Genmu debuting, and both Brave and Eggshade in their level 1 forms, he kicks their asses so easily. So yeah, we don't know who he is yet. No one knows who he is. Even Asuna, who, she's the AI navigator girl, she just considers him a palette swap of Eggshade, and we really don't know much about him until never, because nothing ever gets found out about him in this episode. So yeah, Hiro is very much the realist doctor. How while some have passion and have connections to their patients, a lot of others just want to make sure they fix up their patients, don't get too attached, and be on their way. That way, it's easier to concentrate and stuff. It's a good contrast because Emu's very much the TV doctor, and the difference here between Emu and Hiro is that Emu's just a pediatrician. He'd diagnose stuff. What's it called? So he can get invested in patients, but Hiro is a surgeon. He can't that's hard to get invested in people. Like, yeah, you can get, like, motivated and say, I'm going to save you, but you can't get invested with their story because that would just break your concentration. So I can see where Hero is coming from in terms of what he wants. But something tells me he might lose a patient later, or might possibly, like it's a possible fake out where he screws up, but he doesn't. But Emu like pep talks him, and they become closer because of that. Something like that, I think, might happen. So, yeah. Speaking of patients, though, we do find out that so far the bugsters emerge due to stress levels, because stress weakens the immune system, and so that allows the bugster virus to fully activate. Now then, this means something about episode 1. Remember the kid who wanted to go to the Mighty Action X launch party? What did Emu diagnose him with? Stress. Guess what? Up until the point of Asuna, wanting to drag him back to the cyber rescue center, he seemed to be fine. And then guess what? Because of that confrontation with her, his stress went up because he was next to play the game, the demo game, and then he he freaked out and he became the bugster thing. This time the victim of the week is stressing out due to his future wife canceling their wedding. Why? Because she feels she doesn't deserve him. Yeah. So, that is the catalyst. Eventually we get to Brave's level 2 debut, which is pretty cool. I do like that his sword is very much like a wizard's wand in a way, because he fights with it, he attacks stuff. Like he fights with it, and then it turns into it can be either a fire sword or an ice sword, which I think is actually pretty cool because, it makes it like the spells in RPGs. And of course, he's a knight, so, sword, so he's like a spellcasting knight, which is actually pretty cool. And Exade level 2 finally gets to show up, and we get an accidental double finisher. See, Exade's all like, I'm gonna finish him and save the patient, and he starts his attack, slams the bugster up into the air, and is about to swing at him in order to hit him with the hammer to finish him off. Brave it's all like, no, I'm the one who's finishing this, and activates his finisher with his sword, kill steals as the bugster is falling down towards Emu, almost hitting him too, and that's the end of that fight. I thought it was a pretty cool, unintentional team up, what with Exade knocking the bugster up into the air and Brave just cutting through it at the very end. Other than that, our character for Snipe, who I'm not remembering yet because, his name hasn't appeared and I can't be bothered to remember names, but Snipe, the president of Genmu Corporation, Dan, he basically had a Kickstarter, and Snipe got the biggest goal on the Kickstarter. How the tiers, he got the biggest tier. And guess what was on the biggest tier? Basically, he can get the gamer driver and the bang bang shooting Rider shot to become Kamen Rider Snipe. Again. Yeah, so I was making a Kickstarter joke, which failed horribly, but that's basically what he did. He just slapped a bunch of money onto the table, and Dan's all like, okay, here, have your belt back. It's all like, yeah, it's funny how you can just buy belts from him. It's like, I'm still trying to figure out where Snipe got all that money, though. That's the thing. Does he do gaming tournaments? That would make sense, but still. So, yeah, Snipe buys back his belt, basically, because I believe in, pre-release information, Snipe was revealed to be an ex-doctor who got discharged, and because of that, he lost his belt and his gashat. And because of that, we realized that, hey, this has been going on for 5 years. What the heck? like, I mean, there was, like, incidents 5 years ago that they mentioned, but hey, this, like, really confirms, yeah, the Exade Riders were around, like, or at least one of them was around, like, 5 years ago, which is interesting to think about. So yeah, next episode, our Call of Duty boy, Snipe, he debuts. That's gonna be interesting. But that's all I have for today. Anyway, that was zero views. Episodes are probably gonna get shorter because, until RWBY Volume 4 actually shows up, because, I'll only be covering Exade, but, Anyway, I'll be seeing you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed me rambling. I'm still trying to get a feel for this, so obviously it's going to be a lot of rambling. But hey, this X8 episode was good. It had a nice balance of humor, and I love the action. But also, Pac-Man. Just freaking Pac-Man. That makes me happy. That makes me giddy. I really want to see that movie now. So yeah, I'll be seeing you guys next time.